Students, today I'm going to take up the poem The Lady of Shallot by the great Victorian poet Alfred Lord Tennyson. This poem is actually based on the medieval Arthurian legends. Tennyson was especially drawn to the romance of a lost era and its chivalric code. So, as you can say, as for his fancy, as per his fancy, he had written this poem, which is actually based, as I told you, people, on the Arthurian legends. So, this poem is actually a lyrical ballad, and it was published in 1842. The poem is a haunting tale of magic and art. In this particular poem, a mysterious woman lives alone on the island of Shallot, and just down the river from her is King Arthur's court at Camelot. The lady is under a curse. She is not supposed to look outside her window. So she has got a mirror in her room, and she just looks at the images which get reflected on that mirror. And all the time she is busy in weaving the images, whatever she sees on the mirror, she is busy in weaving that. And finally she is busy in weaving exquisite tapestries which reflect whatever she sees in the mirror. Finally, one day she is forced to look outside the window, and the curse is broken, the spell is broken. So, this is the background of the poem. And in the very beginning, I told you people, Tennyson was very much impressed by the medieval romances. So, somehow that thing is the you can say inspiration behind writing this poem. So, let's have the poem. First of all, we are going to take up the part 1 of this poem. On either side, the river lie long fields of barley and of rye that clothe the world and meet the sky, and through the field the road runs by to many towered Camelot. Now, here in the very beginning, the poet has given the setting of the poem. A very picturesque description has been given here. See the particular window where or you can say the particular tower where that lady is residing. From there, one can see a river in front of the window, and on the either side of that river, there were long fields of barley and rye, and the fields were stretched to such a long area. The poet has said that it appeared to him as if they were covering the whole world, and the stretch was so long that one could see as if the fields were going to meet the horizon. So, on the whole, the lines mean that there were great fields, very, you can say, stretched fields of barley and rye. And through the field, there was a road which led one to the city of Camelot, which whom the poet calls as many towered. That means there were great towers in that particular city, and that city was visible through the window of that tower where the lady was actually residing. The yellow-leaved water lily, the green-sheathed daffodilly, tremble in the water chilly round about Shallot. Now the particular island where the lady was residing, that the name of that particular island was Shallot, and it was surrounded by the river about whom I have discussed earlier in the previous lines. So again, the same you can say description is going on by the poet. The poet says that the whole river was covered by water lily, and the you can say the leaves of that particular plant had grown yellow. and the banks were covered with green leafed daffodil flowers. So, on the whole, it was a very beautiful sight to look at. And the reflection, you can say the picture or the image of those daffodils and water lily was being reflected in the water of the river, and that's why the image was unstable, because it was being reflected in the water. So the poet says it was trembling in the chilly water. That means the image was continuously moving, wavering in that water, because the water itself was unstable. It was the river water, and this river was covering the whole of the island of Shallot. Willow whiten, aspens shiver, the sunbeam showers break and quiver. And the whole area was also covered by beautiful white willow trees were covering the area. They had grown pale, and aspen trees were there, and they were shivering because of the continuous blowing of the wind. They were moving, they were shaking. The trees were being shaken by the blowing wind, and all the cover of the trees was very dense, so the sunbeam could enter only when they shook by the wind. So the sunbeam showers break and quiver. The sunbeam was also reaching the surface, but it was also reaching in fits and starts. That means when the trees were shaken by the wind, only then the sunbeams got the passage towards the surface. So the otherwise, all the time the whole area was covered by the darkness of the trees. In the stream that runneth ever by the island in the river, and the sunbeams could reach the surface of the river only when the trees gave the passage. And this was the particular beauty of that area. The whole area was covered by beautiful willow trees and aspen trees, and the coverage was so dense that sun rays could only reach the surface of water when the trees were shaken by the blowing of the wind. Flowing down to Camelot, four grey walls and four grey towers overlook a space of flowers, and the silent isle empowers the Lady of Shallot. Now the poet tells about the island on which the lady was residing. He says, the earlier I told you people that the name of that particular island was Shallot, and the river was flowing from Shallot towards Camelot. So on the island, a square grey towered building looks out over a flower garden. This is the setting where the lady was there. And there were four grey walls and four grey towers where that lady was residing. And overlooking those towers was a beautiful flower garden. And the silent isle embowers the Lady of Shallot. And in this silent island, this was actually enclosing and sheltering the Lady of Shallot. That means the Lady of Shallot was residing in a tower, or rather in a building which was covered by four grey towers and four grey walls, and all around that particular building was a beautiful garden. And this area, or this island, was named as Shallot, and this island overlooked the city of Camelot, and the connecting thing between the two was the river, which itself was covered with water lilies, and its banks were covered by great large trees of aspen and willow tree, and the sunlight could only reach the surface when they were shaken by the wind. So we can say that very beautifully the poet has captured the picturesque beauty of that island, and or the rather the whole area. And we get to get a chance to make a mental picture or mental image of that lady who was residing over there. We can very well imagine the, we can say, the particular place where that lady was residing. Such is the beauty of these lines. So that's it for today.